Welcome back to our channel. Now we are discussing buyback of shares by private companies under Companies Act 2013. So in today's video, we will explore the legal framework and objectives and benefits of buyback, step-by-step procedure, compliance timelines, restrictions for buyback, and key regulatory requirements involving private companies. So what is buyback? So buyback is also known as share purchase, is a corporate action where the company purchases its own shares from existing shareholders. Company purchases its own shares from existing shareholders. This is called buyback. And subsequently cancels these shares. This leads to a reduction in company's paid up share capital. So this leads to reduction in company's paid up capital. Private companies buyback has evolved into a strategic financial tool. It reflects a financial strength and helps the meet the objectives. What are the objectives? Objectives like increasing of earning per share. EPS will increase because of the buyback. EPS will increase, and efficient use of surplus cash. If company has a surplus cash, then it can use it for buyback of shares. And consolidating promoter shareholding. Promoter shareholding. So once the shares of others are buyback, then this will be a consolidating tool for promoter shareholding. Tool for consolidating promoter shareholding. And it is preventing hostile takeovers because company only taking back and building investor confidence. So what about the legal framework? What are the sections are involved? Buybacks by private companies are primarily governed by section 68 and 69, 70 and rule 17. Section 68 talks about the power of the company to purchase own shares. Section 69 of Companies Act 2013 talk about transfer of certain sums to CRR. CRR is Capital Redemption Reserve. Section 70 of Companies Act 2013 talks about restrictions on buyback. And Rule 17 of Companies Share Capital and Debenture Rules 2014, which talks about entire procedure of buyback of shares. So now, why these private companies? Why the private companies go for buyback? Number one, optimize capital structure and then improve return ratios. We just discussed, no? So return ratios will improve. Then return excess funds to shareholders in tax efficient manner. Another advantage, consolidate ownership by increasing promoter stake. Another advantage, project confidence in the company's long-term value. Then prevents hostile takeover or external control. Instead of it is another tool to prevent hostile takeover because company only taking over. What are the modes of buyback? Modes of buyback are three. Number one, proportionately from existing shareholders, most common in private companies. Second one, from the open market. It is not typically applicable to the private companies. Third one, from employees holding shares under the ESOPs or sweat equity. So private companies usually follow proportionate route from existing shareholders due to shareholder control and limited shareholding base in private companies. And key conditions for buyback. So what are the conditions? First, authorization in articles. So AOA must permit buyback. If not, amend the first. Then board meeting or shareholder approval. Buyback is below 10% or up to 10% of paid capital and free reserves. Then board resolution is enough. Above 10% or equal to 10%, but below 25% or equal to 25%, then special resolution. Special resolution, if it is above 10%, then special resolution up to 25%. Special resolution from the shareholders. It is a mandatory. What is the maximum limit? 25% of paid capital and free reserves at any time. This is the maximum limit. In a year, 25% is the maximum. 25% of paid up share capital is the maximum. Debt to equity ratio 2:1. Post buyback. Debts should not exceed twice the combined paid up capital and free reserves. What is the source for buyback? Source alone. Free reserves, security premium, or fresh proceeds, excluding same class of shares. Only paid up shares. Buyback is allowed only for fully paid up shares. What are the timelines? Must conclude within 4 months from the date of approval of the resolution. Then I will explain you the step-by-step procedure. First, check the AOA. Check the Articles of Association, ensure buyback is permitted. Then convene the board meeting. Approve proposal and authorize by filing. Then hold EGM if required, because pass special resolution, please above 10%. File MDT 14 resolution within 30 days passing of the resolution. Then prepare the solvency declaration. Solvency declaration, file SH8, SH9 with ROC and issue letter of offer. Letter of offer within 20 days of SH8. Within 20 days of SH8 filing. File letter of offer. Then offer period. Keep it open for 50 to 30 days. Acceptance of offer. Shareholders tender their shares. Verification and payment. 15 days time is given for completing the verification and 7 days time is given for payment after acceptance. Extinguishment of shares. Cancel the shares within 7 days after payment. Once the payment is done, then we cancel, destroy the shares of the reduce. SH11, submit return of buyback within 30 days after completing the payment. Then maintain SH7, buyback register at the registered office. That is SH10. What are the restrictions? What are the prohibitions? Section 70 prohibits buyback of the company as defaulted in. If the company is defaulted in repayment of deposits or interest thereon, redemption of preference shares or debentures, default in payment of dividend, default in repayment of term loans or interest to buy banks or financial institutions. These are all prohibitions, restrictions. If default is rectified, then 3-year cooling period applies before eligibility is restored. Buyback cannot be carried out through any subsidiary company or investment company or a chain of such companies. 1 year time gap between the two buybacks. 68(2)(g) imposes a clear 1 year cooling period between the buyback offers. Suppose if your buyback is closed on 1st August 2025, so the next one can begin only after 1st August 2026. This avoids misuse of buyback rules for shorter price manipulations or repeated capital restructuring. Additional regulatory requirements. No reissue of same class of shares except bonus or subsisting obligations for 6 months of post buyback. No reissue of same class of shares. Audited financial statements, accounts forming the basis for SH8 should be audited and not older than 6 months. Provided that if where the audited financial statements are more than 6 months old, then the calculations with reference to the buyback shall be on the basis of unaudited accounts not older than 6 months from the date of offer, which are subjected to limited review by the auditors of the company. And the destruction of the shares we have discussed within 7 days of completion. Dematerialization requirement. Because the post 2023 MCA rules mandated demat based buybacks for private companies except small companies. CRR, if buyback is done from free reserves, amount equal to the nominal value must be transferred to CRR. Now I summarize. First to authorization. AOA must allow, then approval. If it is up to 10%, then board above 10%, then special resolution. Limit is maximum 25% of paid capital and free reserves. DTPD ratio 2:1. Completion within 2 months. Cooling period 1 year from the previous closure. And audited accounts not older than 6 months. and then filing of NDP 14 within 30 days, letter of offer 20 days from SH8, offer period 15 to 30 days, then open for offer period, and payment within 7 days of acceptance. This is what, and share extinguishment, yes, within 7 days we are have to destroy the share certificate. SS11 filing within 30 days. CRR transfer from reserves if from reserves are premium. So here we have discussed DMAT also because of the MCA rules, and then we also talk about the cooling period. No default is rectified, then there is a default, and if default is rectified, then 3-year cooling period is required. And this is what about the buyback of shares. We have two channels, RR Legal Talks and RR Corporates. Please do subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you will not miss any of the latest updates. This information in this video is intended for only general educational purpose. Should not be considered as a professional or legal advice. Thank you.